Have you ever seen a tyre valve do that? It's exploded. It should look like that. Never seen one do that before, but we noticed it the other day when we were dropping some bales off. But I would suggest that's probably going to blow if I fill it up with a heavy load, so I think we're going to have to take the valve out and replace the valve because I don't really want it to blow on me. But yeah, I've never seen a valve do that before. It just seems like there's a skin or layer of the valve that's failed. But so yeah, I'm going to whip that off, and I'll probably have to near enough take the rim off the wheel to change the valve maybe, but we'll see. But yeah, Dan has successfully fixed this JCB. Put it all back together now, but in the last video I showed you that he's changed the washers in the valve, the seals, sorry, in the valve for the side to side, and also for this external Hawks hydraulics, because I wasn't surprised when he said that the seals had gone in that valve, because in the summer when we were unloading bales, every now and then the bale grab wouldn't open and close, so that had done the same thing. So anyway, now he's changed those two lots of seals and it's fixed it, which is a massive relief, because it's like more than 6 months we've been put up with this JCB not wanting to tilt whenever you want it to, locking out all the time, and it really tests your patience some days. So yeah, every day that I've got in it since he's fixed it, I've been very grateful. It's a lovely machine to use when it's working. Right, I'm going to whip these off and then I've got to go and get some feed. Made this little tub, and the idea is it's going to be for putting our wellies in. We could do with one. This is just a prototype really, but we could do with one on every hen shed. Just want something, because we've got to be able to, what we tend to do is have a set of wellies with each hen shed, and that set of wellies stays with the shed. So you sort of, they need to be kept dry, obviously. Can't really keep them in the shed because there's nowhere to put them, and the hens will just end up messing with them. So they've got to be outside the shed, but they've got to be in a sealed container where they're not going to get wet and full of water, and also nowhere that any birds can get to them. So before we were just having we'd have a bucket, and we just stuck the bucket over the wellies to stop them getting full of water, but that's no good really, because we want to keep them clean from birds. So this is what I've come up with. I've got loads of these lids knocking about because they came with a load of poultry feeders. I didn't really, when I ordered them, they weren't supposed to have lids, but they sent the lids out anyway. Even though we don't use the lids, because obviously we don't have any feeders outside. So I've got loads of those lids spare, and then that's just a 200 litre drum. I wanted something reasonably substantial that's not going to blow away, and a lid that's sort of very easy to get in and out of. I might have to put a latch on it, we'll see. Depends whether it catches the wind. But yeah, and also something that's not going to perish. I looked at loads of plastic boxes that you can buy online, but you could spend 40 quid on a plastic tub, and if you leave it outside for a year, it'll all crack and go brittle. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'll take it down. I'm just doing the finishing touches really on the hen shed, just spraying all the rusty bits of metal with oil. And we've got the water system up and running, but one of the float valve isn't working. I haven't spoken to him today actually, because he took the valve off. There's like a little float switch in the header tank which tells the computer whether or not there's water in the tank or not, or how much water's in the tank. And for some reason it's not working, and it's not really that old, because that was one of the last ones we bought. So whether it's just because it's been sat for a long time doing nothing, we don't know. Anyway, he's took it off yesterday to have a look at it and test it, and I haven't spoken to him since, so I don't know whether he's got to order a new one or whether he's got it going. But anyway, hopefully he'll get that fixed, and then all the water system's ready to go. We're expecting feed the end of the week. So yeah, we're just making sure everything's ready really. We've got plenty of time yet, but we don't want to get caught out by anything really after we've had 12 months to prepare. Also got another inspection tomorrow from the APHA, which I was a bit shocked by because I didn't think there'd be any need for any more inspections, given that they've already been out and inspected the place loads of times after we went through the sequence of washing and to try and get restocked earlier. So we've already ticked all those boxes. So I was a bit confused why he needed to come out again. But as it turns out, I did eventually get it out of him that the reason is because they want to make sure we haven't already restocked, you know, illegally, which, you know, would have been an option maybe, of restocking with some older hens that you don't need a license to move, but luckily I didn't. So anyway, he's coming out to check. I think he's just coming to check all the sheds are still empty, which they obviously are, and then I think that just ticks that box. But yeah, I've about had enough of the APHA. I hope they never have to come here ever again. Al? Is it not working?
It's like stuck in like closed circuit, like shorted out.
Bit of an update on the packing shed. Dan's finished his block work last night. He's done his 3 courses, that's all the blocks we had. And then I've just started doing this stud walling. But I'm not entirely sure yet what to clad the walls with. We were sort of heading down the line of maybe putting overlapping 6x1, like horizontal Yorkshire boards overlapping, in sort of that style that shed is in. That's what we were thinking, but the more last night after I'd done that, I was thinking, God, it'd be a lot easier just to buy the steel cladding. Be a lot quicker. But anyway, I'm going to do some pricing up today and just weigh up the two options are wood, overlapping wood 6x1s, or yeah, get some 0.5 steel cladding and just do it in that. So I'll price it up and see what we think. But it doesn't make a lot of difference. We can put both on this style frame, and then the idea is we'll put insulation of some sort, either rolls of insulation, or we'll use up some of the polystyrene that we've got in the gaps, and then we'll have maybe just plyboard or chipboard on the inside, something like that for now, and then it should be reasonably cozy. For those of you who don't know, the story behind this, the materials that we're using for this is that not last year, the year before, it must have been 24 in the summer, bought a greenhouse. I saw it on an auction, and at the time I didn't have any money, but I wanted some more sheds. We were thinking about a new packing shed, and I was thinking about a barn, so I bought a greenhouse as a video of it, or as a couple of videos of us buying and taking down this greenhouse, and so that's the bulk of the materials that we've used. So there's all the frame, the gutters, all these blocks, and all this wood that I've put on here was all from that greenhouse. I think I paid something like 400 quid for the whole greenhouse, and so far we've built that frame, which is storing all our straw in the top yard. All the steel from that was from the greenhouse, and then we built this frame, and obviously we're having to buy materials. We had to buy the roof because we obviously ended up with a lot of glass, but we sold most of the aluminium, so we got money, almost all my money back, just scrapping the aluminium that was in the roof. So yeah, it's worked out quite an effective project. It's obviously taken a lot of our time, but at the time we did have a lot of time and we didn't have any money, so that was the idea behind it. That's the reason behind everything that we're doing here anyway. So right, I'm gonna go, and some of the cows are trying to eat their way out of the calf shed, so I'm gonna go and put some boards up. I've just come down to get me drill.
Yeah.
So we've just been and bought some pigs And we're just going to fettle up the pig gates a bit and then we can unload them out the trailer. Freya's being cameraman, camera woman.
You said cameraman.
I bought some stock board to put over the metal on the pig gates. So we're going to screw that on. Just been down to the packing shed to get some screws.
Yes.
Yeah. Put on there.
Okay.
So I think we'll undo the. Or do you think they'll undo these screws?
Wait, can I don't know if you can see, but there's some baby pigs. Some baby pigs in there. And in this one, you might be able to see some adult pigs in there. So, got them pigs.
We've got 2 saddleback store pigs, so I would say nearly at a pork, almost a porker weight. And then we've got 3, I presume these are just large white wieners. Although the way they're eating that food, maybe they've been weaned a while, I don't know. But they're only little. But yeah, they're giving these pigs away at the sale. It's quite sad to see, really. There wasn't a lot of buyers at all. But it's good for us because we've got 2 that are not far off ready and then some to follow on. Happy days. We just put some, it's a bit dark, but put some plastic sheeting along these doors because they were getting a bit rotten and rusty where the pig muck builds up against them. So we just done that before we unloaded. Dan's made a little bit more progress yesterday on these stud walls, so he's near enough done apart from that triangle he's got to fill in. He's done this end yesterday. He's left the gap here, hopefully we're going to put a window in. So yeah, hopefully that'll happen, otherwise we'll have to rearrange the gap. But yeah, it's coming on well. Like I said previously, all of the materials are from the greenhouse, so these blocks and all this timber that we've used were from the tables that were in the greenhouse that we bought. Obviously the frame is the greenhouse frame, and we're hoping to use up the rest of this insulation which was on the tables because they were like propagating tables, so that we had all these sheets, some of which we've put a layer under the concrete, and then whatever's left here we're going to put in the walls. We've ordered tin sheets to go on the sides, and then we'll use all that up, I think, and then whatever we need left over we can use the insulating wool. But yeah, it's going well. He's got one of the gutters hasn't sealed properly, so we're going to have to try and reseal that, but that's not really a major issue. And yeah, hens are coming at the end of this week. Oh, and I forgot to say the doors, we're going to have 2 doors, one either side, and we've got 2 sliding doors that are from this greenhouse as well, which hopefully we're going to use. So all going well. We've got to put a rail in because they run on the floor rather than hanging sliding doors, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully, yes, the doors as well are going to be from the greenhouse. Been doing some logs, just trying to tick off some of the winter jobs because, well, winter's disappearing, so it's trying to fill this shed up because the weather's been absolutely miserable the last couple of days. We've had a hell of a lot of rain. I think it's the same everywhere. If it is, let me know in the comments, but yeah, from what I can gather it's pretty wet all across the country. But yeah, I flew the drone up yesterday and there's loads of water sat on all our fields, so this is a pile we're working through. I'm hoping most of this will fit in that shed, and most of it's oak as well, so it's pretty good wood. So yeah, we got the digger back, so we've got the log splitter running off the digger again. Got quite a few digger jobs actually to do, so yeah, well I was just wanting to tick the logs off because I've got a load of stone coming, because I can't actually get at my pile of haylage anymore because it's got that muddy, so I need to do a bit of mud digging and put some stone around. So yeah, we're running quite low on straw, but we'll be alright for another couple of weeks. We've had a hell of a lot of rain over the last couple of days, which would make 90% of our fields an absolute no-go. But the top of this field is just like a sandstone bank, so it's absolutely bone dry to travel on. Gateway's starting to get a little bit poached, which is hardly surprising. The bottom of the field down there is very wet, so you just have to stay clear of the bottom. But this bit is absolutely fine. We've got 20 odd acres here that we can spread on, so the spreading has gone on a lot longer than I thought it would this winter because of these two fields really. 13th of February, it's a year to the day since we had the hens were all killed because of the bird flu. So we're restocking. They're due to arrive any minute. They're actually about half an hour late. So we're waiting for that, and we're also in the middle, as you can hear, sorting cattle out because I took 4 more cattle to the market this morning. This is parked in the yard just to run the cattle across the yard. It's the longest thing I can find. So yeah, I've run some cattle into there, but they need sorting out. There's two to come out, and then there's 2 to come. I think there's 2 to come back over to here, and then some of these will want running into that pen, and then we just move everything up a pen. We've got some to move back from the other farm, and then some weaned ones to go to the other farm. So yeah, busy day really. I'm just about to take some hen food down. But it's the first time we've used this bin for a while, so I was just going to brush all the ground up underneath because the bin has a skirt on it that rubs on the floor when you put it down, so I didn't want it to get all gunky. I was just going to brush this concrete off and then take half a ton out. So we're ready for the hens. Side cladding's arrived. Then I'll be happy. We can get on and put the sides on the packing shed, and then we can get on and get insulating it. We couldn't really do much more really without putting this on, and we couldn't even fit the doors because we've got to know how much space we've got on the sides to put the doors on, and we don't know that really until it's all cladded. So take these down to Dan and then just wait for these hens to arrive. I'm a bit reluctant to even take feed out of the main bin until they turn up, because I've had it before where they've been booked in, and then they've come to load the hens out of the rearer shed, and there might not be as many as they think, and then they've had to put it off. You know, my delivery they've had to put off for a couple of weeks. So and in the past, you don't want to take feed out of the bin really, because once it's out of the bin you can't get it back in the bin. And I definitely don't want to put feed in the sheds because it'll just sit there and go mouldy. So yeah, I can't really do much more until I know for certain he's going to turn up. He's already an hour late, so yeah, we're all ready to go. We got the heater on, running in the shed. Dan's plumbed it up to his computer, so I'll just be clicking on and off, keeping the shed at about 20 degrees at the moment, because they'll be coming out at 20 degrees, so you don't want to give them a big shock it's Sunday morning, the middle of February, it's the 15th. So this will be the last day of this video. But we haven't had too much trouble with these calves recently. We took 3 weaned ones out of here last night, took them to the other farm. We've brought a whole bunch back from the other farm that are now in this pen. They're all right at the top of the pen eating their corn. So I'm really pleased with how almost all of the ones in this pen now are from the same farm. There's a couple of straggler blues that I bought from a market, but we've got everything now in this pen, almost everything in that pen, and everything at the other farm, all from the same farm. Pretty much all Angus with the odd Hereford, and I think there's 2 black and white bulls, which neither of the black and white bulls seem to be doing very well compared to the others, but no, it's going reasonably well for a spell. So we've got to go and pick up another 5 calves today, so we've been getting through a lot of milk powder recently because we had a whole flush of them, but they're all just starting to, there's quite a few slowly coming towards being weaned, so we'll go and get some more. There's another 5, so we'll keep the ball rolling really. I sold 4 on Friday, which did all right. They were a bit of a mixed bunch. I've got another 6 months of mixed quality calves that I bought from markets. Some of them are really, really good, and some of them are quite average or poor, so that's just the way it's going to be for the time being. But I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen in 10 months time when we've got a load of these new ones coming through, because they look really promising. Getting through straw, I've run out of all the round bales, and here I've got that stack of small bales left. They're actually really handy. Small bales are really handy, aren't they, for bedding, for using. They're just not handy at all for baling or stacking in a hurry. You know, the time it took us to get all end bales loaded onto a trailer and then get them unstacked into that shed, you know, you could have done 100 round bales and they would have been all right outside if the weather turned. But once they're in here and you've got them next to where you want to use them, they're blooming handy, because you can just throw one in here, either each end of the day or whatever, and it's just dead easy. Just trying to keep on top of them, on top of their bedding really, and just make sure they've always got a dry place to lie. Just keep putting it on in small layers. Dan's computer on this chicken shed saying it's 11 degrees in there, it's 5 degrees outside, so we'll go and have a look now. We had a little bit of trouble with the first bit of food we augured in. I think the auger must have maybe gone a bit rusty, and it really struggled at first to auger the feed in, but we can just restrict by turning the pipe 45 degrees. We can restrict the amount of feed going up the pipe, which is what we did, and it's sort of shined itself up and it's running fine now. But touch wood, that's the only teething issue we've had so far. As soon as I said that, I stepped in the shed and the lights were all off. So yeah, I don't know what's happened. The timer that's in this box must have crashed, this little timer, because it had gone off. The power hadn't gone off, but there was no lights showing on the timer, so I've just reset it and reset the time and everything, and it's come back on now. So I'll have to keep an eye on that, because we definitely don't want any messing about with the light levels. They want to be on a strict 10 hours of light at the moment, and not less really. So they've already missed 2 hours this morning, so they need 10 hours to be able to get everything they need to eat to hopefully put weight on. We might, if we get a chance, have a weigh of some of these today and just find out whereabouts we are with weights, so we know what the starting point is. Should really do it on the first day, but we'll just let them settle in, and then hopefully 2 or 3 weeks we'll be putting the light up and then we'll be getting some eggs. Yeah, they look really good, really pleased with them so far. I think they're just Lomans, which are just I think Lomans are the most popular breed, aren't they? So we've had plenty of Lomans before and they're okay. There's other, I quite like Highlines, and I quite like there's a brown variety that we were using quite a lot latterly, but But Lomans are fine. We'll make do with these. So yeah, this is the easiest time really. Once they're in settled, you just got to keep an eye on things like these blooming lights, and just make sure they're all eating and drinking for the first 2 or 3 weeks. There's nothing else to do really. So we've got a heater running. We're Dan's slowly reducing the heat level because they obviously come from a rearer shed at 20 degrees. So we're just trying to give them a bit of heat, but slowly wean them off it, because the cold actually does a bit of good because it forces them to eat, but they don't want to be getting too cold because it's just a bit of a shock and it'll slow them down from growing. That was an easy fix. That just wanted tightening up. It was just dripping a bit. This is the valve that turns the inbound water on and off. So it'll get to a point in the afternoon, the computer will predict roughly when it can turn the water off for them to drain it out. So it'll probably turn off about 3 or 4 o'clock, which will give them an hour or two to drain what's left in the tank. And then once the lights go out, anything left in the line dumps and flushes outside in the waste pipe, and then the next day they start again afresh. So it works really well. I mean, all commercial sheds have systems like that. Some of them might flush more than once, 3 or 4 times a day. For anyone interested in how the packing shed's coming on, Dan was in here yesterday tinkering about with electrics. Ooh. Looks like he's got all his switches in for all the various different sheds, and then he'll have lights and plugs and stuff in here. He's going to put plenty of plug sockets in by the looks. Gosh, he is putting plenty in, so that's good. It's one of them things. It's an expense at the time, but you'll never regret putting plenty of plugs in, will you? You want one everywhere you can reach, really. We haven't just decided how we're going to set this packing shed up yet, but the old packing shed never had enough plug sockets in it, so we want to make sure we don't have that problem. The side sheets have arrived, obviously, as you've seen in this video, but I don't think Dan hasn't put any on yet. He might probably want a hand to do that, so whether we'll get on that today. He's put some plastic round. I don't think that's going to stay there. He was just getting a bit fed up with the rain blowing in while he was waiting for the side sheets to turn up. So he's I think that's just a temporary thing while he was messing with his wiring. So yeah, once we need to get the sides on and crack on, really. But yeah, he's made a good start with all the wiring. He's put quite a bit of time into it so far. So yeah, anyway, that's where we're up to. Next thing is, after we've got the sides on, we'll be figuring out how we're going to fit the doors, because the doors are going to be on sliding runners. And then once we've got the sides on, we can get the egg grader out of here, out of this old packing shed, and then this one's moving really. I've got some tables and things in there. But yeah, we decided yesterday that it'd be we found somewhere to put it. Anyway, we're going to put it up the other side of the house, in between the sheds, and we can use it for storing all the garden tools and stuff in that my mum uses, and we can just have it as a bit of a garden shed really. But also we've got a freezer, chest freezer, that we want somewhere to put, so we can run electric to it from the other shed. And yeah, we want a bit of a wash off really. I know it's a bit of an eyesore, but we could probably do something with it, clad it, or clad the face of it or something to make it look a bit nicer. But it still absolutely holds water, keeps dry. It's completely watertight, doesn't leak in or anything. Some of the floors are a little bit dodgy just in the doorway where it gets damp, but the rest of it's bone dry. Pretty solid shed. It's been, for what I paid for it, it's been a very useful little cabin. Done a lot of hours of work in that over the years with the egg. So this thing should just give us loads more storage space and the ability to be able to wheel trolleys of eggs straight in without having to just keep handballing everything. So it should be good. It's not going to help us make any more money, but it'll make the job a lot easier. far we've just weighed the hens and they were 1,411 grams, which is a pretty good weight because quite often at this age they're around about 1,350 when they arrive, so that's pretty good. They only really need to get up to about 1,450 to 1,500 before you can bring the light up to start bringing them on to lay. So depending on how big your eggs you want. So that could mean another, if we weigh them in another like 4 or 5 days, see where they're up to.
Okay.
If they're above 1,450 we could put the light level up, but I doubt they will do that in 4 or 5 days. But we'll see.
It's also the other factor is, did you say them settling in so they don't lose?
Yeah, normally they lose a bit of weight when they settle in, but to be fair we've kept the temperature pretty good, so maybe that's why. It was obviously a stress-free move. Right, calves in, calves tagged. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.